Hello, Linda Lyons. This is Mrs. Worm, and we are celebrating Dr. Seuss's birthday on Tuesday, March 2nd. Right now, what I'm going to be reading is If I Ran the Circus by Dr. Seuss. In all the whole town, the most wonderful spot is behind Sneelock's store in a big vacant lot. It's just the right spot for my wonderful plans, said young Morris McGurk, if I clean up the cans. So he said, I can clean this area up and use it. What's he going to do with it? Now, a fellow like me, said young Morris McGurk, could get rid of this junk with a half-hour's work. I could yank up those weeds and chop down the dead tree and haul off those old cars. There are just 2 or 3, and then the whole place would be ready. You see? He's like, I could get rid of all of this in half an hour. I don't know if half an hour is enough time. All ready to put up the tents for my circus. I think I will call it the Circus McGurkus. The Circus McGurkus, the world's greatest show, on the face of the earth or wherever you go. The Circus McGurkus, the cream of the cream, the Circus McGurkus, the circus supreme, the Circus McGurkus, colossal, stupendous, astounding, fantastic, terrific, tremendous. I'll bring in my acrobats, jugglers, and clowns from 1,033 faraway towns to the place that you'll see 'em in, ladies and gents, right behind Sneelock's store. It's the Great McGurk Tents. And I don't suppose old Sneelock will mind when he suddenly has a big circus behind. Tonight, the grand opening. Let's see what it says all the way. Oh, there's Sneelock's store. So tiny. After all, Mr. Sneelock is one of my friends. He might even help out doing small jobs and ends. Doing little odd jobs he could be of some aid, such as selling balloons and the pink lemonade. I think 500 gallons will be about right, and then I'll be ready for opening night. All of these balloons, 500 gallons of pink lemonade. There's Mr. Sneelock, one little bit at a time. What an opening night, what a night, what a sight. I'll hoist up the curtains, the crowds will be crowding in, and my Circus McGurkus will promptly begin, with a welcoming toot on my welcoming horn. But my horn-tooting apes from the jungles of Jorn, where the very best horn-tooting apes all are born, 'cause the very fresh air there is fine for their lungs, and some of those fellows have 2 or 3 tongues. Let's see if we can find any of them. Any of them sticking their tongue out? None of them are sticking their tongue out. How do we know? This way, step right in, this way, ladies and gents. My sideshow starts here, in the first of my tents. When you see what goes on, you'll say no other circus is half the great circus that Circus McGurkus is. Here on stage 1, from the ocean of Ulf, is the sight most amazing, a walrus named Rolf, who can stand up on 1 whisker, this wonderful Rolf, on the top of 5 balls, 2 for tennis, 3 golf. It's a marvelous trick, if I say so myself. Look, on a single tiny whisker, he balances. And on stage number 2, here is something quite new. From a country called Frum comes this drum-tummied snum, who can drum any tune that you might care to hum. Doesn't it hurt him a bit, 'cause his drum-tummy's numb? Oh, doesn't hurt him a bit, 'cause his drum-tummy's numb. He can't feel it. And now you'll meet the Foon, the remarkable Foon, who eats sizzling hot pebbles that fall off the moon. And the reason he likes them red hot, it appears, is he greatly enjoys blowing smoke from his ears. Of course, pebbles like this are quite hard to collect, but Sneelock will manage somehow, I expect. After all, Mr. Sneelock is one of my friends, and I'm sure he'll help out doing small odds and ends. Mr. Sneelock appears to be quite strong himself. And on stage number 4, see the wily Waloo, who can throw his long tail as a sort of lasso. With a flip of the hip and a tail of this kind, he can capture whoever is standing behind. He can capture old Sneelock. I'm sure he won't mind. Just standing there waiting to be caught. And now here is a hoodwink who winks in his wink hood. Without a good wink hood, a hoodwink can't wink good. And folks, let me tell you, there's only one circus with the wink-hooded hoodwinks, the Circus McGurkus. It's an interesting hood. I'm wondering how it's standing up, maybe on the feather. The show of all shows. There's no other showman who shows you a show with a blindfolded bowman. The blindfolded bowman from Brigger Barut, the world's sharpest sharpshooter. Look at him shoot! Through holes in 4 donuts, 2 hairs on a worm, and the knees of 3 birds without making them squirm. And then on through a crab apple up on the head of Sneelock, who likes to help out, as I've said. Mr. Sneelock has been volunteered to do so many things. And now, come to this spot, where the spotlight is hot, and you'll see in the spotlight a juggling jot, who can juggle some stuff you might think he could not, such as 22 question marks, which is a lot, also 44 commas, and also 1 dot. That's the kind of Circus McGurkus I've got. But that's just my sideshow. Sideshow, a start, a beginning. This way to the big tent, you'll find your head spinning. Why, ladies and gentlemen, youngsters and oldsters, your heads will quite likely spin right off your shouldsters. So hurry, step lively, quick, ladies and gents, and get into your seats in my tent of all tents. And parade of parades is about to commence. You'll see Drum Major Sneelock fling-flang his baton, and my organ McGorgon McGurkus come on, with its hot steaming pipes of gold brass-plated tin, snorting all sorts of snorts in a bumbling din. This is a super stupendous, stupendous, stu-roarous. And when I play Dixie, please join the chorus. All these animals way up here. And there's the organ. Please join him when he plays Dixie. Then a fluff-muffled truffle will ride in on a huffle, and next in the line a fine flummox will shuffle. The flummox will carry a lurch in a pail, and Fibble will carry the flummox's tail. While on top of the flummox 3 harp-twanging snarps will twang mighty twangs on their 3 snarper harps. While a bolster blows bloops on a 3-nozzled blueser, an ulster blows floops on a 1-nozzled nooser, and then comes a lion who's partly a trout, and then more stuff. For 45 minutes, about. There's so much here. And then, behind them, while everyone stares, come my to and fro marchers, who march in 5 layers. The fro's march on toes, and the toes march on fro's. Don't know how they do it, but that's how it goes. So they're marching on top of each other. That's quite a feat. And now comes an act of enormous enormance. No former for performers performed this performance. This stunt is too grippingly, slippingly frightening. Down from the top of my tent like greased lightning, through pots full of lots of big stickle bush trees, slides a man, what a man, on his roller skate skis, and he'll steer without fear, and you'll know at a glance that it's Sneelock, the man who takes chance after chance, and he won't even rip a small hole in his pants. Zoom all through these pots of cactuses, or cacti. And now here in this cage is a beast most ferocious, who's known far and wide as the Spotted Atrocious, who growls, howls, and yowls the most blood-curdling sounds, and each tooth in his mouth weighs at least 60 pounds. And he chews up and eats with the greatest of ease things like carpets and sidewalks and people and trees. But the great Colonel Sneelock is just the right kind of the man who can tame him. I'm sure he won't mind. Do you think he will mind? Sneelock is just doing so much here. Then I'll let Sneelock off for a few minutes' rest, while high over your heads you will see the best of the world's finest, fanciest, breezy trapezing, my Zoom-a-Zoop troop from West Upper Bendizing, who never quite know, while they zoop and they zoom, whether which will catch what one, or who will catch whom, or if who will catch which, by the what and just where, or just when and just how, in which part of the air. That's quite a show. I don't think it can compare. Hey, what a circus! My circus McGurkus! My workers love work. They say, work us, please work us. We'll work and we'll work up so many surprises, you'll never see half if you had 40 eyeses. So you're saying even if you had 40 eyes, you could never see everything that happens in this circus. And now, again, Sneelock. Brave Sneelock is back, risking life on my patented life-risking track, while the speedsters I call my colliding collusions raced round in swift cars called abrasion contusions, and Sneelock just lies there, not one bit excited. I know he won't mind. He'll be simply delighted. Just calmly lying there while cars are racing over you. No big deal. And here in a contest of brute strength and muscle, Kid Sneelock, my champ of all champs, will now tussle and wrestle a beast called the Grizzly Ghastly and slap him around. Then he'll slam him down fastly and pin both his shoulders tight flat to the mat. Kid Sneelock will love it. I'm sure about that. And while that goes on there, look at this go on here. Have you heard of my herd of through horns jumping deer? Every deer jumps through horns of another pell-mell, while his horns are also jumped through at the same time as well, by a deer whose horns also are being jumped through, by another who's having his horns jumped through too, which I'm sure Trainer Sneelock can train them to do. Then the whole tent will ring with hoorays and wild shouts when I wheel in my whales and they turn on their spouts. First my whale number 1 with an aim that aims true, and then whale number 2 pouts his spout like a gun, and that spout spouts old Sneelock right back to whale 1. And then forwards and backwards on spout after spout, my great spout rider Sneelock gets spouted about, just as long as their water they're spouting holds out. As long as there's enough water. Then my tournament knights, noble apes without fears, Sir Hector, Sir Vector, Sir Bops, and Sir Beers, Sir Hawkins, Sir Dawkins, Sir Jocks, and Sir Jeers, clattered into the tent while everyone cheers, stage a roundabout joust with their boxing glove spears. Boing. And while all this wild ruckusing goes on below, at the top of the tent, look, the star of my show, great daredevil Sneelock, the world's bravest type. He comes pulled through the air by 3 Suburian snipe, on a dingus contraption attached to his pipe. And while people below are all turning chalk white, and all biting their fingernails off in their fright, great Sneelock soars up to a terrible height. Then he shakes himself loose. He starts down in a dive, such as no man on earth could come out alive. But he smiles as he falls, and no fear does he feel. His nerves are like iron, his muscles like steel, and he plunges down, down, with his hair still combed neat, 4,692 feet. Then he'll land in a fishbowl. He'll manage just fine. Don't ask how he'll manage. That's his job, not mine. Just he's sitting here like, look, that's what he's going to do. He's gesturing, waiting for Sneelock to fall. Why, he'll be a hero. Of course he won't mind when he finds out that he has a big circus behind. That is a ever-loving classic of If I Ran the Circus. Or in other words, if Sneelock did everything that was expected of him as only one person. I hope you guys enjoyed listening. I always enjoy reading, especially Dr. Seuss. You guys have a great day.